Texting. We are back. Welcome back to IDD. For those who know, I don't disagree. Segment 2 on a Freestyle Friday. The highly questionable and Arjun Meliaccio flying solo on a very rainy and wet and dreary Friday. But it's not too bad out. I mean, the temperature right now, given we're in the witching hours, 44 degrees, not too bad, but there's no breeze. It's a little rain. Actually, perfect sleeping weather. If you're looking to get some shut-eye tonight, this shouldn't be a problem. Let the raindrops hit. It's pretty good tonight. But we are back, segment 2. All things college basketball. Weekend preview. A lot of big games tomorrow. A quick update here. The updated top 25 list. We didn't get to go over this the other night. We just went over the top 3. Right now, currently, this top 25 stands Houston at 53 votes. Purdue 4. UConn fell to 3. Tennessee up to 4. Marquette up to 5. Arizona dropped to 2. Kansas up 2 to 7. Iowa State, still in the top 10, but dropped 8. North Carolina is 9, and Duke is 10. Rounding out the top 10, 11, Auburn, 12, Creighton. I don't know if Creighton's been this high in a while. Illinois dropped 1 to 13. Alabama dropped 1 to 14. Baylor dropped 4 spots to 14. Kentucky up 1 to 16. St. Mary's, California up 1 to 17. South Carolina out of the SEC, 18. Washington State out of the Pac-10, 19. San Diego State, the Aztecs, to 20. The Dayton Flyers out of the A-10, Tom, they are at 21. Utah State, no one's talking about them, but they crept up 4 spots. They are 22. Gonzaga back into the top 25 after a midseason drought. They are at 23. Florida Gators, Tom's favorite team in the running, at 24. And South Florida at 21-5, cracking the top 25. BYU, who just beat Kansas, was knocking on the door with 92 votes. They make it in next week now. Texas Tech, TCU, Clemson, and Wake Forest rounding out the next 5, if you will. Which leads us to tomorrow. The NCAA has never failed at this time of year. They set this thing up. This starts getting ratcheted up to championship week. They start getting all these big rivalry games, and they do not miss. They really don't. And tomorrow, it doesn't look like there's any exception. Starting at noon, Dayton, who's first in the A-10, goes up against the second ranked team in the A-10, Loyola Chicago. They're at Loyola Chicago. That's at noon. Okay, for those of you wondering, when do I start focusing on championship week? Start looking at these teams now, because that bracket's coming faster than you think. And you better know something about these teams. You're going to be guessing. Okay? That's high noon. That one, I forget where that one's going to be. Actually, was that tonight? I'm sorry, that was tonight. I apologize. That's not tomorrow. Loyola Chicago won that game, by the way. Tomorrow, starting at high noon, better matchup. This is what I meant Saturday. That was Friday. I apologize. Saturday, tomorrow at high noon, ESPN, number 24, Florida, Tom, at number 18, South Carolina. That's a Donnie in the Brook right there. And then you got Villanova, who's on the bubble, at Providence, also a bubble team at noon. That's in Fox. 1 o'clock, number 7, Kansas, at number 15, Baylor. Think about the 3 games I just mentioned in the first hour of the afternoon on Saturday. Then you got Arkansas at Kentucky, Oregon at Arizona. That's at 2 o'clock. Scrolling down further, James Madison. We don't mention James Madison. That's our neighbor over here. They have 25 wins. No one's even talking about them. I saw them. Where are they playing? I did see them somewhere on here. They're playing somewhere tomorrow too, but they're flirting with the top 25 also, James Madison. I think they're 25-3 actually, out of the Sun Belt. 2:30 on Fox, number 5 Marquette at number 12 Creighton. See what I'm getting at? This is crazy. Then you've got ESPN 4 o'clock, NC State at North Carolina, who's ranked 9th. Mississippi State at number 11, Auburn on ESPN 2. That's 4 o'clock. Number 25, South Florida gets to test out their shoes at Charlotte on 4 o'clock also. And then we get down to the late or early evening, if you will, dusk. There's a term I haven't used in a while. Dusk. 6 o'clock, Virginia, who should be in 28. They're at number 10, Duke, who's fighting to get a 1 seed. VCU, who's a bubble team, facing Richmond. They are 2 of the top 4 in the A-10. VCU is at Richmond. That's at 6 o'clock. So you got those 2 at 6 o'clock. Then you've got UCLA bubble team at Washington, number 19 Washington State at 7 o'clock. I mean, there's a lot of number 1, 8 o'clock ESPN2, number 1 Houston at Oklahoma, who should be in the tournament. They're not ranked, but they should be. Then 8 o'clock ESPN, number 4 Tennessee at number 14 Alabama. I mean, all day long, in every time slot, you got big games that are going to matter. And then, by the way, because I guess they must have been feeling guilty, at 10 o'clock, you have number 23 Gonzaga at number 17 St. Mary's of California. that is your Saturday. It's like, so if you're looking for a big game to watch, just pick a time of day because they're all going to be there. Gigglesmoke guarantee. This is tough because there's a few there's a few real good ones here. Now we've won 3 in a row, so we're 15-9. So we're getting. I still wouldn't call. I'd still call it the 60-40 split. Not so much the guarantee, but I would say that I got to pick one of these Donnies here. So let's go with number 5 Marquette at number 12 Creighton. Now a lot of you guys don't know about Creighton. You know about Shaka Smart, Marquette. He took VCU up here on the hill to the Final Four a decade ago. Well, he's got Marquette into the top 10. Creighton's a good program. It's no fluke that they're at 12. The Big East is no joke. And when you look at these two teams, I don't know if they're going to give us the matchup per se. Let me see. We're going to pick this game though, because 5 versus 12 has a nice ring to it. The Creighton Blue Jays, who are 21-8, they're coming in. They are currently 12-6, third place in the Big East, trailing Marquette and UConn. They're 3.5 games out of first. So they're coming in. They lost at St. John's. They beat Seton Hall earlier in the week. They've won 5 out of 6 following a loss to back-to-back losses versus Butler and at Providence. But since then, they won 5 out of 6. So they're coming in hot. They got a good offense. They average about 81 points a game. Their leading scorer is Shireman, 18 points a game. He's a guard. Marquette has been in the top 10 most of the season. And this is a game that really, to me, Creighton at home has been pretty awesome. In fact, I don't know. Creighton has one loss. They have one loss at home. That was Villanova, former national champion. Okay? So, I'm sorry, 2 losses. They lost by 1 point to Butler, who's a bubble team. When you look at the standings, actually, Butler's not a bubble team. Butler's over 500, though. They're 16-13. So they're a decent team. Yeah. So this win is there to be had. Marquette's backcourt is better. Their coach is better. Not that Creighton's coach is bad, because he certainly isn't, but he hasn't been to a Final Four. And Shaka Smart did that at a mid-level program, not a program out of the Big East. So the coaching edge goes to them. And just where Marquette is at, they lost at Marquette early in the year by 5, so it was a close game. They match up well with them, which is going to make this an even tougher pick. But Marquette, looking at them right now, they're 22-6. They have won, oh my God, their one loss was that drubbing at UConn 2 weeks ago. But in the last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They are 12-1 in their last 13 games, so they're on fire right now. Their best player is Cam Jones, the guard, 15, just about 16 points a game. They're scoring just under 80 a game, so offensively 79.5. They're close. Only giving up 68, so they're holding teams under 70. So their defense, again, as usual, with Shaka, his teams play defense. But again, Creighton only lost by 5 at Marquette earlier in the year. This is going to be a Donnie, and this is going to be a tough one. This is tough. I'm going to go with Marquette to go into Creighton and complete the sweep. It's going to be tough. Again, Creighton damn near beat them out, and again, Marquette's in Wisconsin. Damn near beat them in Wisconsin. And this could solidify Creighton. It probably puts them in with they could get bounced. They win this game, they're probably in the tournament no matter what happens. So it's a big game for Creighton. But Shaka's been in this situation too many times to count. And given the last time they were in this spot, which was at UConn when they got boat raced, I don't see it happening again. So I'm going to take Marquette in a slight upset. Again, they're higher ranked, but again, Creighton only lost by 5 at Marquette earlier in the season. It was close the whole way. So stands to reason Creighton probably will get revenge here. I'm going to pick the upset here and go with Marquette. So that's the Gigglesmoke guarantee, Marquette. Again, other games on the docket that you want to check out, obviously Florida at South Carolina. Check out that Florida State, South Carolina Gamecocks game because that's it. Both teams are legit. Both teams are legit. And then, of course, if you are up late, it's Saturday night. What are you going to do? Gonzaga at St. Mary's. The West Coast Conference, and Gonzaga's been to the Sweet 16 like 8 years in a row. That conference is underrated. It's starting to get the credit it deserves. These two teams are two examples of that. That should be a hell of a game ending up your Saturday at 10 o'clock. So I would look forward to that one as well. And then, of course, Kansas at Baylor, 7 versus 15. That'll be a Donnie in the Brook as well. So you got your pick of the litter tomorrow. Again, the NCAA usually gets this one right. Okay, they start to ratchet up March, right around mid-February after the Super Bowl. Everybody's done the football. Everybody's going on their football withdrawal. And what comes around the corner, March Madness, bracket time, all this crap. And they start getting these games. Saturdays, they dominate Saturday because they do not lack for matchups. They do not. And tomorrow is no exception. So that's the Gigglesmoke guarantee. We've got Marquette going into Creighton and winning that game in a Donnie. And then lastly, what was the other thing that I wanted to talk about tonight? The Boston Bruins. Switching gears here. The Boston Bruins had a big win last night, 5-4 with the defending Stanley Cup champions who came in hot, the Knights out of Vegas. 5-4, they were up 3 goals. Vegas came back because I want to say that's Boston, but Vegas is legit. But they scored late on the power play and held on to win 5-4. The Bruins have set themselves up here pretty good. Now, again, they embarrassed themselves last year, bowing out in the first round to the 8th seed, who went to the finals. But they're currently tied with the Panthers at 84 points, for the most in the league. They are 35-12, 14 ties. And, now that Bergeron's gone, and again, that's still tough to watch sometimes. And I've always liked Pasternak. I have. Pasternak is quietly having an MVP type season. I shouldn't say quietly, but he's got 87 points. He's got 38 goals, 49 assists. He's a plus-minus 21. Brad Marchand, the captain, doing it well, 53 points. Charlie Coyle, 50. And then McAvoy, defenseman, 41 points. They've got balance again. It looks like they have depth. The goaltending this year, it's Swayman, and of course Linus is having a good year. He's 16-6 with a 2.7 goals against. Swayman is 18-6, 2.5. They got 2 good goalies. Again, I haven't really talked about them all season because I was pissed about them from last year. We're in the home stretch here with the Bruins. They got another month to go or so before the playoffs get ratcheted up. Look, they're right where they were last year. They're not breaking records like they were, but they're in first place. And they lost an icon. I may not give them a credit again the rest of the season, but I want to give them some credit tonight because a loss like that, they had for those who don't remember this nightmare, they were up 3-1 in the first round, and everybody had them, and they just had the greatest regular season in NHL history. And they blew a 3-1 lead. 2 of those games were at home, and they blew a game where they scored 5 goals on offense because their goaltending shit the bed. Bergeron tried to come back and play hurt. They never recovered, and they just embarrassing loss, which even the Bruins fans, the diehard Bruins fans, went for cover because even they couldn't look at him. Silence is deafening. I haven't really mentioned them all season, but I'm going to pay them a little credit tonight because they got up off the mat after losing the heart and soul of that team for the past 20 years. One of the greatest hockey players ever, Patrice Bergeron, and they're right there in the thick of it with a chance to win it all again. So kudos to the coaching staff, kudos to the guys on the roster, the goaltenders, of course. Now what they do with it, of course, they're going to be judged on what they do in the postseason, especially after the way they nosedived last year. But that's for another day. Tonight I'm going to praise them. I'm going to sing their praises and congratulate the Bruins on a hell of a season so far. Obviously, there's still a lot of hockey left to be played. Hopefully, a lot of hockey left to be played. But they've done all right by themselves because they got off the mat when everybody left them for dead, myself included. And again, anybody can throw a punch. Not everybody can take a punch. Hockey players are usually tough by nature. So the Bruins got up, and tonight I'm going to sing their praises. Just so you know, for those of you who are following them, 35-12 and 14. Their next game by the way. When do they play next? They play tomorrow at the Islanders at 7:30, and then Monday at Toronto before they come home to face Edmonton. And they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, about 20, 21 games. So they still have a quarter of the season to go to. But right now, they're in a good spot. They were losing. I mean, they went to overtime 3 times in a row, lost all 3 of them. They got a point. They lost twice in overtime, lost on a shootout to Seattle before beating Vegas the other night. So they weren't playing particularly well, but they won a big one, and they look like they were nosediving. They may have just saved their season. So we'll see what they do tomorrow night. New York's a good team. The Islanders are not to be taken lightly. Craig, if you're watching. Hopefully they can go into New York and win a tough one. The Islanders will be ready for them. That'll be a heck of a game. So, but right now, first place, 35, 12, and 14. And, you know, they're hopefully coming out of a slump, a bit of a slump, if you will. So 6 out of 8. But again, 4 of those went into overtime. They got a point. So hockey's weird like that because if you go to overtime, you get a point. So even though they lose, they still get a point. So it's not like it's a total loss. So even when they lose, if they go to overtime 4 out of 8 and get points, it's not a total loss. So I mean, how much of a slump are they in really? Pastrnak, just so you know, is currently 4th in the NHL in scoring. There's Connor McDavid. He's 3rd. The kid from Tampa Bay, Nikita Kucherov, 104 points. And Nathan McKinnon from the Colorado Avalanche, they had that awesome team 2 years ago. And then, of course, Connor McDavid, everybody's All-American, or everybody's All-Canadian, I should say, at 94 points. And then you got Pastrnak at 87. Goaltending, Swayman is tied for 4th, 91, almost 92% save percentage. So they've got some guys up there. But right now they're in it. So to the Boston Bruins, I say congratulations to getting to this point and still being in first place. And trying to ratchet up tomorrow and go beat New York. If there's one thing you need to do, you need to beat New York in everything. That's a rule. That's a rule as a Boston sports fan. You can do a lot of things. You can screw up a lot of things, but one thing you can't do is lose to New York. So hopefully the Bruins understand that and they go down to New York and give them hell tomorrow night. But I'm going to sing their praises tonight because they're in first place in spite of the recent slump, if you want to call it that. And they're in a position to do something. That's more than I could hope for given the way they got knocked out last season and what they lost in the aftermath of that being Patrice Bergeron. So we will give you an update again right before the playoffs. I'm not going to talk about them again for a while because they haven't earned it, quite honestly. They earned this because I haven't talked about them all season. And again, anytime you beat the defending Stanley Cup champs who look legit again, and you weren't playing particularly well when you did it, that's something to, give them a pat on the back for. They're resilient if nothing else. So I'll commend them for that. That's going to do it for our show tonight. We will return Monday, which will be, we're in March now, boys and girls. So championship week is going to be starting up, I think, at the end of next week. But we'll give you the new top 25 on Monday. Recap the weekend. Again, Gigglesmoke guarantee. Marquette over Creighton. Gigglesmoke 60-40. I can't guarantee it yet. It's got to be over 75% for that. Okay? But check it out tomorrow and check out the other college games. You enjoy the weekend. Hopefully it's not raining where you are. This has got to stop. It's actually nice, warm weather. It's good to go outside, but the rain stops all that. So hopefully it ends tomorrow. But for the redoubtable one who's on assignment again, for the Holly Question one, we will see you guys in about 72 hours. Until then, you know what I mean. Be good.